his major claim is on the don't ask, don't tell policy, which he thinks is very unnecessary. And he gives evidence of how, he gives a lot of statistical evidence that his first claim is on how it's very unpopular within the military and outside of it. But like right here he explains how 72% of the members returning from Iraq and Afghanistan, they had a poll between on them, but it's not very clear like what are they for? Are they for supporting the gays in the military, or are they for, like, or are they against it? And he does not explain like clearly what does the Iraq and Afghanistan have to do with popularity and in the gays in the military. And he gives another point where he talks about how they found nearly 1 in 4 service members already know someone in their unit who is gay, highlighting both the popularity and ineffectiveness of the policy. But what does that have to do with, like, he doesn't like really explain that the members of the military, like, how are they, like, what do they have to do with the popularity of it? And he explains a lot about like popularity, but popularity is not really a good argument towards why the policy is unnecessary. It's a fallacy actually. It's called a argumentum ad numerum, which is a fallacy that attempts to prove something by showing how many people think it's right. So, for instance, if the majority agrees that America, the taxes are unfair, so we should get rid of taxes because the majority agrees that the taxes are unfair. But how will the country develop and function without taxes? So it doesn't make sense to have just because a majority agrees that we shouldn't have this policy doesn't give a good reason why this policy is unnecessary. It's a fallacy. And he uses an outdated source on his example. He talks about how in the polls of 2004, they say 50% are comfortable with gays in the military, but I found another poll by Time magazine, and in 2006, 59% are not comfortable with gays in the military. And his second claim is that the policy is outdated and is discriminatory towards people. And he explains about a general that is aware of this and how they spy, well, not spy, but like kind of like put hidden cameras in gay bars, and like they're threatening commanding officers and gays in the military. But like he does not give any statistics of how many people, how many think that the don't ask, don't tell policy is discriminatory towards gays that have to hide their identity. He just talks about how it's discriminatory towards the gays, and he doesn't really give an actual number of how many actually think that. And there isn't any evidence of his argument how the policy is outdated. He just talks about, he gives a claim of how it's outdated, but he doesn't give evidence of why it's outdated. He just talks about the discriminatory towards it. And according to American Force Information Services, the law does not discriminate against gays. The law allows people to serve regardless of sexual orientation as long as they don't engage in homosexual acts or disclose their homosexual orientation. And there's a general that I used to work, his name is Peter Pace. He talks about how the homosexual activity is immoral and it works against good order and discipline in the services. So it kind of doesn't work having gays in the military. And Another spokesman from Pentagon, by Brian Whitman, says that the don't ask, don't tell policy is based on conduct, not orientation. The law of sexual orientation is a personal thing and a private matter, and it has, like, it's not discriminatory towards the gays. And he makes a third point of how the policy is a waste of the country's resources, and he gives numbers of how much it says 360 million on things such as recruiting trained members, and we're losing $63 million because we're letting go of the gays that are already in the military, and we're replacing them with new members, and we have to also train them. And he says how this is a waste of our resources, but there's no argument, like it's a fact, like there's no other side to this. You can't really argue against the resources of his claim. He just talks about how it's a waste of the country's resources. Well, a lot of the actual government knows that it's a waste of the resources. You can't really argue against it. Then it gives his evidence from the Human Rights Campaign is invalid because they're a group that supports one side, the gays, and they inspire and engage Americans to change their views on this issue. And they want them to know that the gays are being affected by this, and this can't really support his claim. And a lot of the things that he talks about, like it's really hard to like refute against, because it's all on one side.